Hey everybody, it's the Life of an Average Show podcast, as you know, because I'm here. I'm Brandon Navera. I was hoping, and this may still work out. This could turn into a two-part. Whoa, cover the camera, guys. Sorry. I've got a couple weird little nuances here on my desk because I broke something. And so I super glued it together. Not for the podcast, but it's on my desk drying. So I had to move everything around. And I don't know. I almost did a green screen today. You guys know I don't really like doing those that much anymore. Um, but anyway, this might be a two-parter. And I say might. Every year, this time of year, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Revenge of the Sith. No, Revenge of the Fifth, which is also Cinco de Mayo. Some people say Revenge of the Sixth, but Fifth, Sith sounds so much better. And it's the next day, even though that's Cinco de Mayo. So that's always been debatable. But it may be a two-part episode because I have been doing a Star Wars episode ever since I started this podcast. And it has ranged from, talking about new movies that have come out, some new shows. We've even gone and ranked all the Star Wars movies in our opinion. We talked about some of the things that we've liked from the Star Wars video games. We really just kind of, and I say we because it's always been with my good friend and the guy who created this amazing logo for my podcast and done so much amazing artwork for me on a personal level, Nick Luck. But he is not here this week. So I'm a little bummed out. It's not his fault. He just got done doing TagCon. I just got done with the Kendrick Lamar, Easter Kendrick Lamar date adventures. No, she did not go with me to the Kendrick Lamar concert. That was me and Luke. Yes, my 7-year-old went to the Kendrick Lamar concert. And if we can go on the trail for a second here, let's put Star Wars right here. Okay, boom. And let's for a second, and I'm going to try to limit it because I could do a whole podcast on this concert. Let me talk about the Kendrick Lamar concert. Third night of the Grand National Tour 2025. We hit Minneapolis, Houston, Arlington, aka Dallas. I believe he's in Atlanta right now. I'm not sure. AT&T Stadium, massive stadium. This is a stadium tour. And the difference between a stadium tour and a regular tour is, yes, a place like American Airlines Center or Joe Louis Arena, or I should say Little Caesars Arena, holds a lot of people. That is a good concert venue. There's absolutely nothing wrong with those venues. American Airlines Center is a pretty legit place to go see a concert. It's big enough, but also almost every seat in the place is pretty good because it's not overwhelming. AT&T Stadium is a different level. Okay, we're talking World Cup games are going to be there. We're talking T Swift was there. Okay, we're talking concerts, Dallas Cowboys, like WrestleMania was there, and I was there for WrestleMania. Not this last one, obviously, years ago. So when you think of a hip hop artist, a rap artist like Kendrick Lamar, who's sold out club shows, who's gone all the way back in the day, he appeared at Coachella, he's done things like that. To do a stadium tour where this guy's just dropping bars, okay? Let's just break it down here. He's got some great dancers. He's got a story and a message. But if you look at this is not like a group. This is Kendrick. He's dropping bars. And it's an education. It's an education. To do a concert at AT&T Stadium and places like that is hard enough for those big bands. Even T Swift packs it out. But it's hard, Justin Bieber went to American Airlines Center in his heyday. Kendrick doesn't have a band. He doesn't have a Kiss style show. And I'll get to that. He put it out there. Guys, I know I'm a Kendrick fan. And I can even criticize the show a little bit. The first couple tracks, especially on SZA's part, when she came out, there was a sound gap. Like, it felt like the sound kept breaking out. I saw her playing with it. It sounded like she couldn't hear herself. Not that she sounded bad, but it sounded like Kendrick had to compensate because it was like the voice was cutting out. Like there was something wrong, and it wasn't her. They corrected it, and everything was fine. AT&T Stadium is massive, guys. We're talking that he put 97,000, almost 100,000 people in that stadium. It's the third sold out show on the tour. Yeah, you could have got tickets that day. So people are always reselling those tickets, or you got the ultra, ultra, ultra higher than we were nosebleeds that is sold out, and you're going to pay for it. He took us on a journey, 51 tracks, no opener. Mustard wasn't there. Mustard announced that he wasn't going to be there. He had a prior engagement. He announced that right when the tour got announced and they told him he was going to be on the tour. He announced he couldn't be at the Dallas show. I missed that. So I was expecting, me and Luke were expecting DJ Mustard. 45 minutes into the show, there's no Mustard, and all of a sudden K-Dot comes out. I'm like, okay. And it's boom, 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 boom. I got to tell you something, guys. That's one of the best concerts I've ever been to. And I've been to a lot of concerts. And it was everything from the story, the music, the education, the vibe, the party, the audience, the track set list, the balance and contrast of Kendrick and SZA's set, how they wove the story together. It's unreal, man. Wow. That being said, though, Nick Luck and I just kind of started talking about Star Wars. So we couldn't connect on a Star Wars thing. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to make, God, my phone's going off. I'm just going to make a podcast now. And then he reached out to me and said, I should be able to record Sunday. Well, Sunday's May the 4th. That podcast isn't going to drop until that Wednesday. I don't want to bump it up, so it's going to be post Star Wars Celebration. The podcast isn't going to drop till like the 7th. So I don't want to sit here and God, my tablet's going off now. I don't want to sit here and, like save my Star Wars podcast till post Star Wars. So I said, man, I'll just do one. And then if he gets an opportunity, we'll just make this a two-parter. So here we are. And it's perfect timing because we just had the re-release of Star Wars Episode 3. My phone and it's right here. My tablet's right here. They're both. I need to silence these, bro. I can't silence it right now. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if you can hear it. It's driving me crazy. It's like, I'm about to snap, dude. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Revenge of the Sith. 20 years ago, Episode 3 dropped. Revenge of the Sith. The best in the Star Wars prequels. I mean, even its faults or downpour is by far the best. And the prequels deserve the love they get, and they deserve the comedic relief they are, and they deserve some of the hate they get too. But overall, I mean, I would take the prequels over the sequels any day of the week. Looking wise, we talked about it. The sequels are beautiful to look at. There's some amazing battles, there's some amazing fights. The whole thing's a mess. Just not great. Matter of fact, I dread rewatching them, to be honest with you. I do. I try not to. And every year for Star Wars Day, I would do certain things. Luke and I would celebrate up until about a year ago. He doesn't really care that much anymore. He likes playing the Star Wars video game. He likes playing with the Star Wars action figures, and he's excited because we're going to Disney in June to see the Star Wars stuff. And I'm hoping that maybe he'll be back into the movies, but he's very particular on which movies he likes from Star Wars. So I don't push it on him. I kind of just do it for myself. But I would always get a new Star Wars shirt every year, get one for him. We would always do something related to Star Wars. Maybe play Star Wars, on the video game like Battlefront, or we play one of the other games. Now Fortnite will be dropping on May 2nd. So that's Friday, the new season, which is Star Wars. So I imagine we'll buy some skins and play Fortnite. But for me, I would do different things. Sometimes I would rewatch everything. Sometimes I'd go back and watch what's new, or watch something I hadn't seen in a while, and whatever. But I was thinking, man, Revenge of the Sith 20 years ago, well, that just came re-released in movie theaters. I went. I didn't get the popcorn bucket or anything. Like I said, we had Kendrick Lamar. I've got Wu-Tang coming up. We've got a massive Disney trip. So like yeah, it's crunch time. It's like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, guys. Um, so I didn't buy the popcorn bucket, but I got tickets to go see ticket to go see Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. Last year, I went and saw Phantom Menace during its re-release. I went with a couple buddies, and we got to do that. That was fun. So I went to go see Episode 3, and it was great because it was packed, and it did something like $25.5 million this weekend. Now I know what you're thinking, like 25 million. I'm like, this is a movie that came out 20 years ago, guys, that just pulled in it was one of the highest grossing re-releases ever because it is one of the best movies and they're releasing it around the right time. And it really kind of got me thinking about kind of where we're at with Star Wars. Star Wars as a franchise, since Disney bought it, has gone up and down. It just has. There's not a bash at Disney. I'm not going to sit there and throw Kathleen Kennedy under the bus. We know she's not great. Excuse me. But Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, they've given us amazing stuff. I mean, they completed Clone Wars for us. They gave us the Bad Batch and everything that entailed. We've gotten the Mandalorian, Boba Fett. We've gotten, these Star Wars shorts, Tales of the Jedi, and all that have really just been awesome. And they're now making the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which, quite frankly, is going to be epic. It's something that Star Wars needed because it's number one, it's post Vader Palpatine, pre First Order, but still getting to the First Order. And yes, it's centered around, there are some Jedi and there are all these things, but there's other stuff going on in the galaxy, and it's introduced us to a lot of new characters and then some live action characters that we've seen from Rebels and stuff like that. Speaking of that, they gave us Ahsoka season 1, which was phenomenal. I'm probably going to rewatch Ahsoka season 1 soon because Ahsoka season 2 is coming, and I think that's next year. And I am stoked for the Ahsoka because it's number one. Ahsoka is one of the best characters out there, and to see her live action, come on. But number two, we don't know what happened to Ahsoka. And this has been a big question for a long time. We don't know what's happened to Ahsoka. We know that at the end of the prequels, we hear the voices of all the fallen Jedi. It has been confirmed that we hear Ahsoka's voice. We don't hear Ezra's voice. So we're assuming that all the Jedi that we've heard are dead. So Ahsoka's probably dead, right? We know she's almost died multiple times. The Ahsoka series has taken place after Rebels and all that, and it's connected in the Mandalorian way in that timeline where she's now into the Thrawn series, and we're getting into some of that, heir to the Emperor kind of stuff, and cross-moginating with, Darthamir and all these things and the witches, and they're getting into some wild stuff here. So it's new, it's exciting, but it's also familiar. We get live action Ezra, we get live action. I'm all for it. Thrawn is great, and he's one of the best villains out there because he's not a Sith. We get to see, him as this general, and we haven't really dabbled in a lot of that before. We did in Rebels, obviously with Thrawn. He was a huge part of it, which led up to this Ahsoka series. But my question is, what happened to Ahsoka? Why wasn't Ahsoka around when Rey was around? She died, right? Now, she could be communicating through Rey in a different way. But we're going to assume, based on all the other Jedi, that she's dead. So maybe we're going to see that. And Dave Filoni and Favreau have given us this great lore and depth and closure on these characters and great story arcs. So Disney has done some stuff, but they've also had some misses. The Acolyte being a miss, being a very cool opportunity and had some cool moments and a very unique time and they sold it one way and delivered another. Not great. It's the reason it got canceled. Do I think they could have given another season to flush it out? Yeah, I think that's fair. But it was also beyond expensive. Like, what would they do? Like $1 million an episode? For what? It's weird. Anyway, um, but they've also had some cool stuff. Mandalorian, obviously, that's connected to Dave Filoni. Boba Fett, despite its kind of weaknesses at time, was still fine. I mean, they took a character that was irrelevant, quite frankly, and they made him relevant. I don't care what anybody says. Just because everybody had this cult following Boba Fett. If you watch the original trilogy, what he seemed cool, but you can't say, oh, over the books and the comics. No, just look at what he did in the movie. Like, they made a lot out of him, and it's pretty impressive. So let's let it go. But this year, we got a lot of announcements. We know we're going to have a new Star Wars movie, Starfighter, I believe it's called, with Ryan Gosling. And I believe this was the scrap concept of Top Gun in space that they wanted to do about a starfighter. Now, where it fills on the timeline, I don't know. But the idea of going in this Top Gun starfighter type situation with Star Wars, maybe, again, not addressing the Jedi or the Sith, but maybe the Empire or maybe some other things that are going on in the galaxy. Super interesting. And Ryan Gosling's cool, so I'm down with that. Let's see what happens. We also, and it's new. That's the thing. It's new. It doesn't have to always be connected to the Skywalker saga. It doesn't have to be connected to Sith or the dark side. There's a massive universe, and we're seeing that with season 2 of Andor that just dropped. See, Andor has got to be one of the best Star Wars shows out there, and season 2 is also equally as awesome as the first season because they're literally showing the details and the reach and just how far the Empire has spread, what it has done to every civilian, what it has done to the rich. It really is similar to the Nazis. I mean, minus all the Sith and all that, but it's similar because you have neighbors turning on each other. You have people ratting each other out. People are literally hiding on planets and in farmlands. And this past week, they addressed SA, and I'm not going to say what that is. You guys know what it is, which people were like, well, why is that in Star Wars? Star Wars is a kid show. There is nothing kid-friendly about Andor. Nothing. And we're talking about a kid show. We literally had Anakin Skywalker just killing younglings, just literally thrashing children. Tortured his daughter, cut his son's hand off, choked his pregnant wife, but essentially went after Obi-Wan more than once and killed him. It took Mace Windu and tossed him out the window after cutting his hand off. Like, what are we talking about kid-wise, guys? If you look at what Darth Vader actually did, he's the ultimate villain there. So we can look past Chewbacca and the Ewoks and all that. There's not much kid there. And although Star Wars started off for kids, it has a very dark, history. So for them to go into Andor and show some of these things that absolutely happened and addressed it, it wasn't glorifying it like some other movies have and other shows. It was addressing how power makes people do crazy things and how those corrupt people in power use that influence to do whatever they want because they don't care. It showed the Emperor did not care about this woman, did not care who she was or what she was. He wanted to get what he wanted, and he was probably going to kill her afterwards. It was a big deal. And Andor has shown how, yes, we saw at the end of season 1 what the people in the prison were doing. They're putting together these panels for the Death Star. And they've mentioned the Emperor. And we've seen a couple people connected from the Emperor's regime, from Rogue One into Andor. Now, when I first heard about Andor, I was like, okay, it's going to be fun, but why are we going way back before Rogue One? We know these characters die. But there's so much more to that because it's how the rebellion wasn't even really a thing yet. I mean, they were kind of a thing, but they were so disorganized and fighting with each other, and they couldn't really get anything done until Rogue One. But I think the most important thing is really seeing how these people were fighting and smuggling innocent people out and fighting the emperor or the empire, both. And they just how secretive they had to be about it. It's really a good show, and it's done so well without lightsabers and without the Sith and without the Skywalkers. And to me, that's what Star Wars needs, a different direction, while still being in this vast world and story. So all these years that have gone by, there's a lot of stuff we could talk about with Vader that we haven't seen, but there's all these years that have gone by under the Empire's rule. We don't really know what happened. We're just kind of putting the pieces together. Now we get to see that. So that's currently streaming on Disney Plus, so I'll be watching that. They also announced that they're doing Star Wars Visions. I believe this is the third season of Visions. If you're not familiar with Star Wars Visions, it's anime Star Wars. Let's just put it that way. And they get some of the best artists and storytellers from all across different anime shows and animated cartoons and comics, and they put their spin on Star Wars. Now, it's not just a reimagining of tales we already know. It's looking at random characters. Some characters, yes, we've seen before. Others, we haven't. Two Jedi that just met in a field, and one of them is a Sith and one of them isn't. Who are they? And it's really fun. It reminds me a lot of like the Animatrix from years ago, which I thought was awesome. There's all these little cartoons about the Matrix and the Matrix world, and it was still connected to the Matrix, but it didn't deal with like Neo and all those guys. This is very cool. It's not just about Vader and stuff, although they've sprinkled some of that in. So they also have another spinoff from Night Visions that I think, and I have to do my research on it, and maybe Nick and I will talk about that a little bit more. And I forgot what it's called, like Night Jedi or Jedi Knight. I don't know what it's called. Knights of the Jedi. I don't remember. And night is in like it's nighttime or something. But I'm anticipating that to be like a film, an animated film, or a maybe 4-part series that's all connected. So that's super fun. I'm excited about that. I really was hoping for an announcement of Skeleton Crew, the sequel. I know Nick and I put that on our list to talk about if we do a part 2, which I think that's what's going to be happening in next week's episode. So tune in. I had an episode planned already, but I'm just going to scratch it and move it to the following week. Skeleton Crew, I thought to me was one of the most fun original ideas I've heard from Star Wars, or from that company in a long time. I thought Jude Law's character was super interesting and great. I thought it was Goonies and fun and Stranger Things and just all those combined in the Star Wars universe, and it gave us more depth and looked at more characters that weren't connected to the Skywalkers. So I think that we're in for some really cool Star Wars stuff. I really do. I think that Star Wars, being with Filoni, being with Favreau, and kind of going in that direction, I think we're going to get better. Where they just announced the Darth Maul series, Shadow King, and I've talked about it. I love Darth Maul. I think that Favreau handled him the best. Lucas, whatever Lucas originally had planned for Maul got scratched, so that kind of sucked. And I think we got to see part of that come out in Clone Wars and Rebels, and then now, so we know how his story ends. It's one of the best story arcs I've seen and character developments I've ever seen. I think Maul's phenomenal. I was a little weirded out by them coming out with another animated show, but they're now filling in the gaps. Post Clone Wars, or post Rebels, before the death in Clone Wars, right in that time where he debuted on Solo, and kind of what happened after that, how he became the head of the syndicate and got on, and then we know how he got on Mandalore and ultimately what happened after that. Because he died in Rebels. Yeah, so post Clone Wars, pre-death in Rebels is what I meant to say. Like died for real this time. So is it something we need? No, we don't. But I'll take it. I think, especially for Disney Plus, and especially for content like that, it connects the dots. It's almost like Filoni really wants to do something that works for the Disney Plus platform, that can give that platform more content. And also, he looks at it, okay, I've got these great characters. I've got this, A, B, and D. C is missing. We know pieces of C, but how do we? I want that flushed out, you know? I don't think you have to do that all the time. I don't think you have to do that for every character, but I think for an animated series, this could be very fun. So we got some really cool announcements. For me, how I'm celebrating is I'm watching Solo. That's the movie I picked. I'm going to watch Solo. That was a movie that got completely trashed. I mean, that to me was like Disney got, they bought Star Wars and they're like, okay, we got the trilogy coming out, next trilogy, these three movies, and Solo. And then when Solo bombed, everybody's like, hold, stop the presses. I don't think that Solo should have bombed. I think Solo should have gotten delayed even more than it originally did. Because I think it experienced a lot of backlash from the sequels. People were so mad and frustrated and angry with the sequels, of all ages of fandom, that when Solo came out, I don't think they gave it love. And then there was a massive situation on set where Ron Howard had to come in and like fix the film and add these couple things because it was a disaster. Like they fired the director and all that. Um, I think that should have been like, hey, time out. Let's put a plug in this. Let's spend our time on it and let's release something else on the Disney Plus platform or something else. Because Disney Plus platform was pretty new. Let's do something different. And I just think they rushed it, and I think it experienced a lot of hate. It doesn't mean that Solo's a great movie overall, like it doesn't have its faults. But I have to tell you, whatever, I forget the guy's name, the guy who played Han Solo, I mean, he's young. Don't compare him to Harrison Ford. I know you're going to do that, but why? He had the antics, he had the swagger, he had the dialogue of what Harrison Ford's Han Solo character was, just a lot younger, which is what he was supposed to be. I thought it was cool how him and Chewie met. We never got to see that. I love how the love for the Millennium Falcon and how him and Lando, a young Lando, played by Donnie Glover, aka Childish Gambino, I thought he crushed it. Matter of fact, I would have loved to see him reprise his role as a young Lando. And there was times there we had heard there was going to be a Lando series or a Lando movie. Movie probably wouldn't have been good unless it was straight to Disney Plus. Series with Childish Gambino, I'm not against that. But I thought they did a good job showing that connection. And then we got to see the Kessel Run, and we got to find out about all the crime syndicates. The weird thing was, and this was definitely a Ron Howard moment, and there was probably a vision. We got to see Maul again, but the problem with doing it the way that they did Darth Maul at the very end for those like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, was nobody had seen a live action Maul since Phantom Menace. There are Star Wars fans that don't watch the show, the cartoons. They don't. Like, my dad loves Star Wars. He's not watching the animated stuff. And he watches some animated stuff, but he's not. He's not. I have to give him, like, the gist of what happened. So for him to watch Solo and be like, why is this guy here? I saw him get cut in half. Did this happen before he got cut in half or after? I'm like, no, it's after. Let me explain why. So I don't necessarily, like, although I watched Clone Wars and Rebels and I know what happened to Maul, and then they did even a better job with Maul in Clone Wars. Um, Once Filoni like actually ended the show, we had one of the coolest fights ever with him and Ahsoka. Um, I watched it, but most people didn't. So I think like, why would you do it? Was an easy cash grab. Be like, oh, look, Maul, cool, there's going to be more. And maybe there was a plan. Maybe there was a plan to do a Solo movie, another one. Maybe there was a plan for for Maul to appear live action again. And that's some of the rumors there. But to me, it was like that weird Easter egg, not really, like cameo that went nowhere. And I think they didn't need it, to be honest with you. I, as much as I enjoyed it and understood it, I don't think they needed it. And maybe that's something that Maul Shadow King, the animated series, is going to address. You know, he's supposed to be having an apprentice. We know the story behind that. But maybe there's something else. Maybe we're going to see that. We're going to see those pieces. And that would be cool. But again, you didn't need that. But I think Solo was a fun movie and I really enjoyed it. Um, I don't think it deserves the hate it got at all. And I think that if you haven't seen Solo and you're a Star Wars fan, you should definitely watch it. Don't listen to other people. Make your own opinion on it because I think it's entertaining. It's not a Rogue One level, but I think that Solo's better than any of the sequels. Even though the sequels look cool, nah, I think it's better. Um, Super entertaining. Definitely better than The Acolyte. So that's what I'm going to watch. And then I'm excited because, we got Andor and we've got the Visions coming dropping on, May the 4th. So those are fun. Those are things that I like to do to celebrate. I love that we're getting back to they're releasing like, hey, it's been 20 years since this. Um, they didn't do that with Clone Wars, I don't think. But Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones, what was it's called? Yeah. It was a weird movie. It had a lot of good moments, but there's a whole middle love story that just felt very forced and very weird. But I'm excited about what's coming for Star Wars, and I think they're handling it the right way. Favreau and, well, especially Filoni has worked so tightly with the lore and with the books and what's canon and what he's wanted to make canon and so tight with George Lucas. Filoni, he's the guy. He gets it. And ultimately, he's going to be running the whole Star Wars thing. And I think slowing down and getting away, like, I don't like that they announced that there's a new movie coming out with Rey. And the concept is she's going to lead a new order of the Jedi. That's stupid. Why? Why are we leading a new order? That worked so well last time. And no offense to Daisy, but Rey's character wasn't beloved or really cared very much. I'm not blaming her. I think it was the writing. So I think that's just automatically going to bring a ton of baggage. People very rarely think outside the box and are going to give her another chance to think that maybe better writing could do good for that character. What they should have done with that character is what I've said since day one. She absolutely should have gone to the dark side. Don't give me this Kylo Ren wannabe Vader generic villain that I never believed. Have him they should have had him get frustrated with the dark side and just go back with his dad. Han shouldn't have died by his hands. He should have died by Daisy's hands when she turned to the dark side. And that would have set up something really cool where she's trying to become the next Palpatine because Palpatine's back somehow. And again, and Kylo Ren is coming after both of them. Kylo Ren should have been the one to be good. I never believed him as a bad guy, but the idea as a dark Daisy, as a dark Sith Palpatine woman, dude, loved it. And they gave us that little tiny glimpse. It was really cool. They should have had her do that. They should have had her meet Luke and everything and train, but they should have had her kill Han Solo and just completely go to the dark side. That'd have been a 180. Nobody would have saw it coming. And I think it would have given Kylo Ren a little more street cred as a good guy, because when he did that little turn at the end and dismantled his Knights of Ren for 2 seconds and then died, it was stupid. It was just dumb. So I don't think that people are real excited about her. I'm not real excited about that movie. And it's mostly because I don't like, she's going to lead a bunch of new Jedi against a new evil. Great. Why? What's the new evil? Somebody who wants to take over the galaxy? Okay. Palpatine's dog? I I mean, will I watch it? Of course, because I'm a Star Wars guy, but I watch everything. But I'm not excited about it. I, as of now, I could be dead wrong. But I think Star Wars is in a good spot. I think there's some really cool stuff coming out. It's got the worst toxic garbage fandom in the world. Because at least when I complain about stuff, I talk about it. But there's just the fandoms just suck. You know, they're a bunch of Drake fans. Because like, look at the Drake fans, dude. The stands out there just glazing and riding. Dude, everything. Yeah, God, Kendrick was handing out free tickets to the concert, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. He made more money at that concert. He wasn't handing out no free tickets. Oh yeah, well he's using bots for those songs. Does that look like bots out there? You got 97,000 people singing. Yeah, well Kendrick was late to his show. 40 minutes late. Drake's never late. Like that's never. And that's when you hear with Star Wars fans. Well, Disney's ruined Star Wars. Disney shouldn't make adult stuff because you know what, it's for kids. And then they make a kids one like Skeleton Crew. This is so cheesy and stupid. It's just for kids. You can't make them happy. Like especially like freaking Star Wars Theory. You guys know who that turd is? I don't want to plug him. He's garbage. He's a whiny baby who's quite frankly been told that he's the guy for Star Wars, and he was given an opportunity to be a spokesperson and get to go events, and he ruined it by his pissing and moaning. He's awful. That dude throws a temper tantrum for, what is he, 30? I don't know. And he's got nothing to say. I don't know why he has a podcast following, YouTube channel, anything, because all he does is complain about Star Wars, and you get the same people that are in that toxic fandom following him. And it's well, they should have done this, you know. Anytime something's good, well, that wasn't that great. I don't know why they went that way. And you just, first off, it's Star Wars Theory. So, bro, your whole thing is to theorize and come up with ideas that aren't real, potentially real, no facts. But now all you're doing is being toxic. Hate that guy. And that's like the leader of these crazy fandoms out there. You know, you got the Star Wars fans like me. It's like, yeah, that wasn't my thing, but let's say at least you tried something new. Let's go. At some point, they're going to be like, kill it. Don't do anything. Like, what then? You got nothing now? They just own the IP? You got nothing? Same thing with Marvel. Marvel hasn't been good since Endgame. Really? Really? You sure about that? Because, like, I can sit there and talk about things that aren't great about Marvel. But since Endgame, you're right. Daredevil, not been good. Punisher's not been good. You're right. You're right. Those have been awful. Miss Marvel's not good. Oh, you don't like it because it's a young girl. Okay, cool. Eternals was a really interesting new outlook on a movie that I did not despise, but I get it. Black Panther 2 wasn't real. Wasn't good. Fair enough. Okay, cool. I mean, Captain America, Brave New World, okay, it wasn't great. Way better than I thought it was going to be. Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, not good. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, not good. Spider-Man, No Way Home, into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse. You're right. Marvel's come up with nothing. They've had some misses. The Marvels, Captain Marvel, not great. Marvels was mildly entertaining because of Miss Marvel. X-Men 97. I mean, phenomenal, right? Like, Werewolf by Night, Moon Knight. I shut up. Now, you want to say that about DC? I can be like, yeah, okay, you're there. Peacemaker was good. Blue Beetle was good. Suicide Squad. The second one, I don't really like the first one. First one was okay. Black Adam had moments. It did. That's all I got. Like, League of Super Pets was awesome. Their animated stuff is always good. But you got fandoms that are like, oh, James Gunn killed the DC Universe. Bro, DC Universe was dead. My point is, don't listen to fandoms, make your own decisions. If you haven't watched Solo, I recommend it. You're a Star Wars fan. Check it out. I'm going to go, though, because I'm tired. Shocker. And I want to watch Andor before I pass out and go to bed. I'm going to get up at 6, go to the gym. I'm down another 6 pounds, guys. 6? ish. I think it's 5, but it's over 5. Like it's 5.5, so we'll round up. But that's fine, 5. I'm down 5 pounds. I've been doing real good. Um, Even on my cheat days, I'm doing good. I've also been at that doing that fasting. So I try to stop eating by like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. 7:30 on like non-work nights. Work nights, if I work till 9, it's hard, but then I'll try to eat like a really late lunch that's good. And then I come home and I'm just doing a protein shake, but it's a protein shake that you can drink when you go to bed. It's meant to like do its stuff while you're in bed sleeping. It's not bulk up. It's not like, oh, it's a different type of protein. It's literally meant to do that when you're tired and to replace a meal so that your body can rebuild that muscle tissue and all that crap. So, anywho, I'm working on it. I got a doctor's appointment in like 4 weeks for what's it called? I was going to say checkup. I don't know if they're physical. So I like to be in my tip top shape. Plus, I'm just trying to lose weight. I mean, I'm hanging out with a 26-year-old, so I gotta make sure I can stay awake. No more date talk, though, guys. I'm gonna keep that stuff private. It's that short for private. I don't have time to say private, even though I just explained it. She's cool though. Yeah, we've been talking a lot. She's been super busy with work, so we haven't had a chance. But it's not that blow off. It's like we're still texting. So we'll see what happens. A sidebar though, there's a girl across the street from me that I found out that lives there, but I think she's with somebody. She's super cute. Ran into it the other day. I was like, all right. Dude, there's like super lightning bolt Italian chick that I saw at work that I was like, no offense to but I'm a man. I can appreciate. We're not exclusive right now, but I'm not dating anybody else. She. But that Italian girl could have been a problem. So I'm saying, but she's not. I'm willing to work with this situation and see what happens. So, anywho, I'm going to go. Next week, part deux. I just got a text message from Nicola too. We will be recording Sunday. Saw him pop up. We will be recording Sunday, and it'll be a Star Wars conversation. We're going to look at Skeleton Crew. I think we're going to dive into the Visions spin-off a little bit more, and I'm going to ask Nick Luck what he did or what he plans on doing to celebrate May the 4th, even though it'll be post that. So tune in next week for the next Star Wars episode. Really excited to have Nick Luck back. He's awesome. So make sure to check that out. I'll tag him. Obviously, so you can follow his content and go to his website on TikTok or his YouTube channel as well. See all his artwork. He's kind of out of the podcasting game. He killed his podcast, but he's focusing on his artwork, his stickers, his books, his commission pieces, and it's just really cool, man. He's a really cool dude. So check him out, and then come back next week. All right, we'll see you next time on the Life of an Average Show podcast. Shout out Summer Moon. I need a new hat, guys. I need a new hat.